All
Good
right.
afternoon and welcome to our webinar titled From Data to Decisions. I'm Jim Merrill, President of Pacific Accounting and Business Services, PABS for short. That's too many syllables. PABS has been providing accounting services, including complete nonprofit accounting, since 2008.
And good afternoon or good morning, wherever you're dialing in from. I'm Teresa Daher. I'm the Executive Vice President here at PABS, presiding over the nonprofit division and all of the enterprise accounting, small and medium-sized business divisions.
Hello everyone, I'm Yatin Gajjar. I lead a team of more than 30 nonprofit accountants supporting more than 80 nonprofits across the US. Teresa, please introduce PABS.
Happy to do so. Okay, first of all, we want to let you know PABS is a global operation. That means we're everywhere. Jim is joining us from Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. Aloha. I am in beautiful, sunny Southern California. We have divisions in the United Kingdom, Sydney, Australia, but most of our operation is in India with 6 campuses across Ahmedabad, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. Yatin is coming to us from Ahmedabad. It is 2:30 in the morning where he's from, so he is looking mighty fresh and awake given that fact. So all over the globe, there can cover all the time zones. And so let's take a look at our agenda for today.
All right, who is PABS? PABS supports and is really trusted by more than 6,000 businesses worldwide. Most of that is in the US. Now, Teresa and I work with nonprofit managers and executives in needs of solutions for their organizations. And Yatin leads our team of nonprofit professionals dedicated to nonprofit accounting.
So we pride ourselves on our awards and achievements. We are an award-winning firm all over the globe, and we work very hard to maintain our ISO security protocol certifications. It's extremely important with the number of clients and people we have working with your sensitive data that we maintain those security standards. Our media mentions you can see everywhere by Googling us. I'm sure some of you have already done so. Very proud of our accomplishments over 16 years.
We have served over 100 nonprofit organizations over the years. Currently, our dedicated team of more than 30 experienced nonprofit accounting experts supports this division. This team can be easily scaled by leveraging our extensive pool of 1,200 plus accounting professionals here at PABS.
It's a big group. Yatin can pull anyone in he needs as soon as he
Yeah,
needs to
yeah.
scale.
Absolutely.
All right, enough about PABS and us. We want to get started with some questions here. Uh, Teresa,
Okay.
do we have a poll or shall we just read the questions? What do you
We
want to do?
do. We do have a poll, Jim. Let's have some fun with the technology. So, everyone, you should see questions before you. What we're looking for from the field is some direction as to where your pain points are. So, please answer yes or no. Questions are 1 through 5. We'll give you a few minutes to complete those.
All right, as we wrap up those questions, please know as well that, and we'll show on the next slide here that you'll be able to ask questions via chat, via Q&A on the bottom of your screen. So if you have questions throughout, let us know what those questions are. But Teresa, do you have results for that?
I do. All right. Well, it looks like question 1, are you experiencing cash flow problems? This is no surprise to this group. 100% said yes. On question 2, are you having problems tracking specific funds? 100% said yes. Again, Yatin, no surprise, right?
Yeah,
3, do
absolutely.
you have problem getting board reports? 100% said yes. Number 4 is split. We got a 50-50, struggling passing audit. So somebody here in the audience has got a great organization. We can't wait to meet you. Number 5, are you getting your financials to your CPA on time? I got a 50-50. So yes, it looks like half of you struggle with that issue. That's pretty common, and half of you are able to get things somewhat on time. So great. Thank you for doing that. That gives us some guidance to move forward. During the
So as
webinar,
mentioned,
you will,
go ahead,
oh,
Teresa. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. During the webinar, you will be able to ask questions. So go ahead and open your question down in your control console Q&A window. and type it in. Yatin is monitoring that window. We'll be able to answer questions as they're asked, or we'll cover them at the end of the webinar.
Teresa, shall we also do a sample raise hand and see if that's working for our guests?
Sure. Everybody, why don't you click on raise your hand? Let's all be counted.
All right, I see me raising my
All
hand.
right. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Sunil. A few more. Come on, everybody play. Raise your hand. There
All
we
right.
go. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. All right, we got all of you but one. That's okay. That's fine. Nice to see
Excellent.
you all.
Let's get down to business here. Here's what we're going to cover today. With an eye on management insight into your organizations, we'll be focusing really on reporting, cash flow reporting, forecasting, management reports, board reports, dashboards, and more. Teresa?
Yep, our true goal today is to really give you some strategies and ideas to help influence how you deal with the future. A lot of times, the bookkeeping that's been done deals with the past. We want to talk about first taking the stress off your routine activities in order to produce all the reporting that you need, but more importantly, turn that data into information. How do you do that? You think about the future, you forecast, you plan, you strategize, and then you can instruct your accounting team to put the block and tackle number pieces together so that you have the data you need to get information. With the current level of economic uncertainty, certainly lately, and the volatility in the nonprofit market, cash is less reliable. Possibly in the past, you could count on a certain stability, possibly not anymore. Cash outflow may be under greater scrutiny. So when you want to spend money, we always have the dual checks and balances, but everyone wants to know where the money went, where the money came from, and that has to be handled through your accounting.
So how do you gain the power of financial stability? Organizations without solid reporting strategies, as shown on the left there, could be impacted in several ways. Poor cash flow, insufficient planning, little forecasting or any planning at all, and that come to reactive cash management. Now, on the flip side, a strong strategy can improve all of that, leading to better cash predictability, better cash flow, and that's complemented by improved management and board insight so that in the end, they can take that data and move it into better decisions.
With that goal in mind, the actions that you take today and going forward are going to get your organization into shape and your back office into shape. And more importantly, elevate your game when it comes to accounting and reporting. All right, Yatin, you are the expert. You run our nonprofit division. You've seen it all. Let's get into it. Let's dig a little bit deeper into some actual real world challenges. And Yatin's going to tell us how he and his team created management reporting, trained their clients to turn that data into information.
Yes, Teresa. Can you move to next slide, please?
Oh, yes, sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay, so these are the very common challenges we have observed with our nonprofit clients. The first is like cash flow and working capital management. So many of our clients are faced that, okay, they are not able to manage the working capital management. They cannot see their cash flow in future. And because of that, they are facing the issue in paying the vendors, short-term liquidity, as well as in future that when they will be short of cash, they won't be able to judge on this basis. Controls for receivables and payables, definitely, I think this is very important in terms of the nonprofit. If they are not paying their vendors on time, that definitely going to impact their credibility as well. If they are not monitoring their receivables on time, that is going to impact their short-term cash flow as well. So these are the very important areas where we have seen the struggle to the nonprofit organizations. And of course, board reporting and governance. So each and every nonprofit organization has its own requirement for the board reporting, specific format, specific requirement, and submission on time. So these are the challenges majorly faced by the nonprofit organizations. Now, if we talk about the solutions, then data analytics and dashboard. Definitely data analytics will give you more idea to take a better decision. And dashboards gives the key performing indicators, which gives the idea for the strategic decisions to the board members as well as executive directors. For the forecasting and budgeting is definitely help in terms of the cash flow planning, like short-term cash flow planning. Forecasting help in that case. Budgeting will limit the expenses. You can see how much expense is done, how much is pending. So budget is going to help in that manner. So overall, Teresa, these are the solutions that we have already provided to many of our clients in past, and they are quite happy with that, and they benefited a lot from that.
Yes, I've seen those solutions in those reports. You're all going to see some examples later in the presentation of what he's talking about. They make a big difference for our clients. Thank you, Yatin.
All right, transparency, what a great word. And transparency comes from great reports, including those financial reports that are basic to everything in accounting, and ultimately in the nonprofit world, those board packets. That really is, at its simplest level, the primary goal of the accounting department. Get the financials out, get the board the information they want. Now, to get there, there's a lot more that it takes to really provide great information. So to get there, it's necessary to build a proper program with the results of having accurate, consistent, and clear financial statements. But then the benefit of that becomes the ability to prepare and provide defined management reports, dashboards, and financial charts. Those key indicators, KPI, if you will, that management and the board, that's what they're looking for, so that they have better insight into the organization's performance and the financial performance, and they can take that information and make great decisions. Without sometimes those little things, they don't really get the full picture from just financial statements.
Right. And again, Yatin's going to show us some of those details. The reporting is needed for the best possible management. Agreed. All right, let's move on. Okay, so with good reporting, stability is the goal, right? So you want to be able to make better decisions and you want to be able to manage your capital. Predictable cash flow, tracking those inflows and outflows, really complicated. So it's nice. We have, again, a lot of people who are going to be able to jump in and handle that level of detail. Make sure you get it all the way down to whatever dimension you wish to have it part of. We want to make sure we get you the rolling week, the 13-week rolling forecast. Those are very important. Payment schedules and expense tracking. That takes management and people. Besides, they need to do some reserve planning. This is all the type of reporting you're going to need to do to make better decisions. Yatin, give us tell us a little bit about those 13-week forecasts. I think that's really important.
Yes, that's a really important forecast. I mean, we have faced like we came to know from many of our clients that they are facing the issue in making the payments to their vendors. They are not able to foresee that how their cash flow is going to be in future. So rolling 13-week forecast definitely is going to helpful in that case. It will be rolled week over week, and you can see the forecast in the future as well, like after 5 weeks or 6 weeks, what will be the financial situation, short-term liquidity situation. So if there are any deficit over there, you can plan in advance. You can see that, okay, you will not have funds after 6 weeks or 7 weeks. You need to arrange the funds, or you need to defer some of the bigger payment, or you can plan receivables accordingly in future as well. So definitely rolling 13-week forecast is definitely is very helpful tool for the short-term liquidity.
Nice,
All
yeah. Now,
right,
yeah,
thank you.
it's really all about the reporting, the insight, and being able to plan. So thanks for that. Let's move into the short-term liquidity.
Yes. So short-term liquidity is like definitely strengthening. It is required to be strengthened very well, and receivables and payable controls are very important in for the same. And for that, you need to be like consistent, predictable cash flow through the processes and standard billing cycle. So the billing cycle should be very standard, and vendor and payer patterns. So many a time it happens that the you are not paying the vendors on time, or you are not utilizing the net terms which is given to you. And on the other side, you are not focusing more on the payers pattern, that some of the payers are not paying you on time. So this definitely create a gap between the short-term liquidity, and that can be filled by closely monitoring those patterns. Now, if we talk about the temporary restricted and unrestricted fund, then restricted funds, this is a very important to track for the nonprofit organizations because it has a restrictions to use the funds. The aging report is also important. Like if we look at the aging of 30, 60, 90, then more than 90 days has to be on top of, like whether it is receivables or payables. So aging report closely monitored should be monitored on a weekly basis and at every periodically. Any 60 or more than 30 days has to be highlighted and taken it very seriously to look into the details.
Yatin, you mentioned restricted and unrestricted funds. I imagine
Yes,
for this audience, most understand what that is, but in case we have people who are not clear on the definitions, could you define those for us, please?
sure. So restricted funds are those funds which are provided with the any of the restrictions. We can take the example that the funds has been provided with the use of that can be used for the education purpose only for a specific purpose, right? It can be defined through the purpose. It can be defined through the timeline. So that can be used only for that particular purpose only. And unrestricted funds are not restricted. They can use for the operational purpose of the nonprofit organization. They can pay their salary to their employees. They can use it for the other expenses, admin expenses as well. So there is no restriction on that. But if we talk about the restricted fund, it has to be tracked very closely. It is required to be tracked. Otherwise, there are a lot of consequences on that if it has not been tracked properly.
Super dangerous if that's done wrong. It can put your nonprofit status in jeopardy. How many times, Yatin, have we taken on a client that you've had to go back into previous years and put those errors right? It's that important. So thanks for sharing the
Yes,
definition of those. All right, let's
yes,
move on.
All right, probably my favorite topic, budgeting and forecasting. And here the key phrases: anticipate, adapt, and act. So I'm going to focus here really on the first item on the right hand of your screen, proactive planning. On the finance side, that means budgeting and forecasting, getting ahead of it and predicting what's going to happen. Those activities can always be a challenge. It's sometimes a vague process with a lot of guessing and head scratching. But just keep in mind that when you're budgeting and forecasting, perfection is not the goal. It's really about reflecting your organization's goal by putting your best estimates on paper so that in the end you can compare the actual to what you planned for. That gives you the opportunity to analyze and take action going forward. In the end, that takes us to better insight and again, better decision making. Now, proactive planning can be weak without a complete set of accounting processes. So it's important to note that in the 10 or 12 steps of the accounting process, financial forecasting and budgeting, they're steps 8 and 9. So if you haven't completed steps 1 to 7 first, you don't have a good basis for that planning. And steps 8 and 9 will never be really as reliable, as accurate as you hope. It'll all be in vain. So the goal of all of this is to be able to anticipate problems, adapt operations to mitigate risks, and then take action with some confidence. So let's take a look at key financial reports now and management reports, all representing the history, and then combine that with the objectives and the goals in order to produce solid forecasting and budgeting for the future. Yet, you want to share some of your experiences around management reports?
yes, definitely. Can we move to next slide, please?
Yep.
Yes. So yeah, it is very important to include the right reports in management reporting that will give you insight about the how organization is doing and what are the strategic decisions can be taken on that basis. So let's look at some of the management report, which are the reports we can include in that, and what are the importance of those reports. So let's start with the statement of activities. So for the non-profit organization, statement of activities by fund, by program or department is very important. Like you can track the program revenue, program expenses, and you can see that how that particular program is performing. Even it is very useful for the program manager to track the program, how program is performing by fund and by department as well. So statement of activity should be breakout by fund, program, and department. Now, another very important report is budget versus actual. So for the non-profit, you have already budgeted for the entire fiscal year's expenses, income, and everything. Now it is comparing what actual performance non-profit organization is doing compared to what it has budgeted. So for example, if we can take the expenses of electricity expense and you have budgeted for the $15,000 and you have already spent $10,000 on that actual. So you know that, okay, as per budget, you are still pending with the $5,000. So this is give you a very big idea. Even budget versus actual help in terms of that you are expecting some of the grants to receive and you have not received, and your actual performance is showing instead of surplus, it is showing the deficit. So you can understand that, okay, because of this grant has not received, it is showing the deficit. So budget versus actual is very important in terms of those decisions making. Statement of financial position. This gives the uh, financial position on a particular date of the nonprofit organization. Statement of cash flow is again a very useful tool that gives the idea about the cash flow position of the organization, how you can predict the short-term cash flow and everything. Dashboard and financial graphs. So this will give you the more detailed idea about the how strategic decision you can make, because the above statements give you the all the numbers, but the dashboard and financial graphs give you the trend and you can make the decisions on that basis. Like financial graph, if you take like any of the expenses that you want to track and you make a trend analysis of that, so you will have the better idea that you can take more strategic decision on that basis. Dashboard gives the idea about the key performing indicators that helps to take and decision, as well as the it will give the idea that you combine all the other indicators into the one platform. That will give a better picture from the board perspective, executive director perspective. We do also provide one report which is very customized, monthly executive reporting, which includes the executive summary of the financials, and we provide the important ratios like program expense ratio, debt coverage ratio, which will give you the idea about, and we compare those ratios with the industry standards. So those ratios will give the idea that how organization is performing, what are those ratios in the future. Because if I talk about the program expense ratio, any of the funder definitely going to because that is the core goal of the non-profit organization to do the expenses towards their mission. That's what it is tracking, right? And apart from that, also we can provide the graphical presentation of the expenses that any non-profit organization wants to track on that basis. And last, board package. So definitely board reporting is very important. As I mentioned earlier, each and every nonprofit organization has their own requirement for the board reporting. And we do provide for that, like how they want to see the board report in a specific format and timely fashion. So that is very important, has to be added into the management reporting as well. So Teresa, I think these are the reports we have seen, which are very useful for our nonprofit clients that we have served over the years.
Thank you very much for going through that. We all know a picture is worth 1,000 words. We like those charts. Getting an executive report with graphics, very valuable. Thank you very much. All right, let's get into turning data into decisions.
Yeah, thanks, Teresa, and thanks, Yatin, for a great explanation of the reports. I want to focus a little bit here on the executive packet that Yatin mentioned. Um, Financial statements themselves don't always give the best information. They can be a little vague, and that's why it's important to really create reports around the specifics that management and the board want to know. In short, having good data is terrific, but expecting to read and digest a spreadsheet full of numbers or a P&L or statement of activities report with numbers on it's somewhat impractical. The best solution for that really is dashboards, charts, focus management reports, ratios, etc., all to simplify management's and board's effort into reviewing cash and the operational conditions of the organizations. Once those reporting tools are built, a consistent review becomes possible and leads to really effective decision making, and those decisions become much more reliable. So it's can't be understated just how important great detail reporting can be. Now, to wrap up this section, in the past few slides, we focused on all the various types of reporting necessary for great insight into the organization's performance. We're now going to move into really some specific challenges that many nonprofits have, and hopefully work our way into some solutions. Here's Teresa.
All right, thank you, Jim. All right, here's what we see is the big challenges that come to us out of the gate. We need complex, dimensional reporting. We need it by fund, we need it by grant, we need it by project, we need it by division. I think we've had it by state, country, all different ways. We can build that for you. That's something that professionals can really do. Revenue reconciliation and recognition. Money's coming in from a lot of different places, gets put it needs to be categorized and treated correctly. Restricted funds accounting, Yatin covered that, super important. Governance audit readiness. Well, we had somebody who said that they didn't have trouble with audits. I commend those people. That is impressive. But right now, most of our clients do come to us struggling with audit prep and tax prep, which are similar. It's nice to have a whole team of people who could put their hands on data and information to support any questions your auditors might have. Most difficult thing, talent and resource constraints. Nonprofits notoriously are staffed with some vendors, part-time workers. Oftentimes the board turns over every year or every 2 years. There's not a lot of continuity. So we want to make sure we can give you a team and retain. Finding and retaining talent is difficult for everyone these days. So having some stability in your talent bench is really a great way to keep you guys propped up. The challenging economic pressures. Well, we understand that's a big deal right now. It's buzzword. The climate is volatile. So these are things that press on people that come to us. This is the first information we get, and we come at them with solutions immediately. So here we go. We got some reports that he was talking about. So being able to chart and show some pictures are worth 1,000 words for all of the activity going on in your organization. So Yatin, could you please review these charts? Tell us how they work. How do your
Yep.
clients use them, etc.
Yes, definitely, Teresa. So if you look at the charts, like what we have done over here, that we have mentioned the program expense ratio trend analysis for the month over month, and we compare it with the industry average as well. So this will give the better idea to the nonprofit organization that how they are spending their money towards their program, which is required. Even the board of directors and the funders are always looking at this ratio. Higher this ratio is much better, And that's what the aim for the nonprofit organizations. Debt service coverage ratio gives the idea that how much interest portion you are covering and paying from your organization. So this will give you the idea from the leverage perspective that how it is mainly used for the bankers and outside the organization who are going to give you the money. So that's why it is very important, and we always compare with the what industry standard is going on and how the organization is doing. So that will give you the insight and you can track it in detail. Now, another screenshot that gives the idea about that overall how statement of activity looks in trend. So you can compare each month over month and see that how your revenue is doing, how your total expense is doing, surplus and deficit you are getting. So all this information will be at one glance available on that. Also, you can customize the expenses, whichever expenses you want to track. If you want to track the personal expenses, that will gives the idea about the month over month that it is increasing, decreasing. If it is increasing, why it is increasing. So that will give you the in-depth analysis of each and every expenses. So this is how these executive report built to provide the insight to the executive directors and CFO to make the strategic decisions.
Excellent. Thank you. That's a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot we can do. So let's get into how PABS can help your organization with all of these services. Jim?
I do love charts and graphs. I, you know, I think can help in big ways. We can provide the bandwidth. We always provide specialized expertise as Yatin demonstrates here. We've got share as much or little of that expertise as you need. We're scalable, so if you're on the grow or reducing, we can help with that. In the end, PABS, we generally save up to 50% cost over your current staff costs. So if you're looking to reduce costs or looking to replace somebody with somebody who's less expensive, that's what we're all about, is really helping you save money as well. We try to do so with zero disruption to what's going on. And then really one of the great benefits is we add redundancy. How often have we seen a controller or a senior accountant or a CFO or whoever come into an organization? They learn all this information, they have it in their head, they might have it in an SOW somewhere, but nobody else knows it. An opportunity comes up for them, they disappear, and nobody else knows what they're doing. So we work hard to bring in redundancy. There's always at least 2 or 3 people on our team that know what's going on, they know the answers, they know where the information is, and they can put their fingers on it. And so we work to really never miss anything. And so redundancy is a great aspect of what we provide. All right.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jim. Couldn't agree more. Yep, couldn't agree more. Redundancy is everything. All right, Jim, tell us what we told him.
Yeah. No, we've covered a lot today, looking at building financial stability for 2026 and beyond. That's what we're all about. And whether you take the information that we shared with you and take it and make that happen yourselves, or if you need our support in getting there, we're happy to help. But we looked at cash flow and working capital management, data to decisions, right? Data analytics and dashboards to really help support the financial report, leading to better decision making. We talked a lot about fund and program accounting, locating or accounting by or reporting by dimension or location or division. It's all possible. I spent some time talking about the budget and forecasting, such an important tool in making better decisions in the future. And then ultimately satisfying management and those board packages by ensuring that they get what they need to really guide the company. If you have questions, now's a great time to ask them. But also, we'd welcome you to reach out to us if there's anything that caught your ear or caught your eye that you want to contact more. I think Teresa is the next slide.
There we go.
Teresa's going to be the primary contact here. That's her phone number, right, Teresa?
It is. It goes straight to me. Feel free to call me.
And her email. And we're thank you. Teresa, why don't you wrap us up on
I'm
that
going to
last
wrap
slide
this
here?
up. Yes. So, creating stability for your nonprofit. We do it with people, we do it with processes, we do it with systems. We've been doing it for a long time for a lot of clients. We have some amazing, happy, good stories of how we brought stability to organizations and then shared the rocket ride of increased funding and increased clarity on their financials, happier donors, happier boards. It's a real feel-good business for us. We love very much being part of these organizations. So as we teach you to turn data into decisions and build lasting solutions, we'd love to be your partner on that. You can take a look at www.pacificabs.com. You will see a lot of information there. You can connect with myself. My information is there. Yatin, of course, has shown you that he manages this department. There's nothing he hasn't seen in the nonprofit world. We can put you in touch with him for some Q&A. And we're happy to be there, help you reach your goals. It's a big part of what our mission statement is to be part of something like this. And thank you very much for joining. And that concludes the official portion of the webinar. If you'd like to hang around and ask questions, you're more than welcome to do so. And if not, we look forward to hearing from you. That's it. All right. Thank you, everyone.